It's SportsTime Ohio's initiative to recognizing others in the community through STO Cares.
The nomination actually came from my niece, Emily Dennis. She started working in the same field that I'm in cystic fibrosis. And so she thought it was appropriate to nominate me. It was just quite awesome to march out onto that field and cross home plate and out towards the pitcher's mound. It was quite exciting because it was really, obviously they're there to play baseball, and we were there as part of the celebration of the All-Stars among us. It was quite incredible how they were so involved in what we were doing.
Please stand and join us as we thank the All-Stars among us.
Just watching 50,000 people clap for you, including the Major League ball players, it was like a dream. And I just couldn't believe I was there.
Dr. Michael Konstan's dream began 30 years ago while attending dental school at Case Western Reserve University. Between classes, Michael would volunteer his time at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital to help administer treatment to children with cystic fibrosis.
I was an undergraduate in college at the time and started working with these children, and was just taken so aback by the courage for which they faced their illness. One in particular, 11-year-old boy who just captured my heart, actually told me, you should be working in Dr. Boat's lab. Dr. Boat at the time was a major CF researcher here at Rainbow. And here's this 11-year-old figuring this out that, there may be some other way that you could help us.
Michael deeply admired the strength and courage with which Robbie DiMarino fought his disease. And during his junior year of college, Michael changed his career goals from dentistry to medicine in the hope of becoming a CF physician and researcher. Later that year, Robbie lost his battle with cystic fibrosis at age 11. His passing was the life-defining moment for Michael.
It's just amazing how much courage even a young child like that has in facing an illness like that, knowing that they're going to die, and just feeling helpless that you can't do anything for them. And so that was really, I think, the moment that I said, something has to be done about this.
Michael continued in his studies, and after graduating from medical school, he discovered his research could have a profound effect on helping patients with cystic fibrosis.
And one of the neglected areas in the care of these patients was treating the inflammation in the lungs. And so I set out to help develop an anti-inflammatory treatment for the lung disease of CF.
After 9 years of research, Dr. Konstan concluded that high doses of ibuprofen serve as a safe and effective therapy for treating inflammation in the lungs. To this day, it remains the only recommended therapy.
So that was my first major contribution to treating CF lung disease, and that therapy now is used throughout centers across the country and somewhat over in Europe.
Which one is your lung supposed to look like? Right.
Another contribution that's just as valuable is the care and compassion he shows while treating his patients.
The thing about cystic fibrosis is that it's constant. It never goes away. There's all sorts of little problems that creep up, and Dr. Konstan is there literally 24 hours a day for his patients.
So I just took a look at your tests. You do a good job on this, huh?
As a physician, I very much enjoy helping each of my patients individually and get a lot of gratification out of being able to do that. But that's only treating several patients at a time. It's very gratifying to know that you've helped thousands of patients without actually having to be the one that's actually taking care of them.
So I've been on it.
As is the case with Chagrin Falls native and cystic fibrosis patient Casey White.
We don't have those reports in there, but we should.
Even though I'm not even his primary patient, I've called him on his cell phone at 10 o'clock at night for advice or for something, and he's, not only willing to talk, but he's still at the hospital because he's still working with his patients or doing his research. So he's literally dedicated his entire life to cystic fibrosis patients and to the cause.
Casey is one example of the thousands of patients who have benefited from Dr. Konstan's years of research.
When I was diagnosed at 3.5, CF was a disease with little hope. The gene had yet to be discovered, and the life expectancy was kind of in the early teens. So my parents really had one goal for me, and that was to graduate from high school, because they thought if I had graduated from high school, at least they would know the kind of adult that I would have become.
Casey's commitment to her health and advancements in research have given her and her family the opportunity to celebrate many of life's milestones, like graduations, her wedding day, and the birth of her son, Mac.
I never thought that I would be able to have the experience of being a mom, and I mean, I just didn't want to have a kid and not be there to enjoy his life. So it was a big decision, but gosh, like, I'm so lucky, and he's such a great kid. You won! You win! Awesome! Being a mom has just opened my heart in a way I never thought possible. I see it! Yeah! I'll give it to you. Sometimes I just can't believe the life that I'm living right now. It wasn't something that I counted on, I guess.
Casey, take a big breath. Casey's a remarkable young woman. She has a great outlook on life. She's not afraid to talk about her disease and to make people aware of it, because she knows that will only further the cause.
Some of you know, some of you might not know, but I have cystic fibrosis.
As a wife, mother, and soccer coach, Casey leads a very active life. And even though she's not one of Dr. Konstan's primary patients, she still credits him and the team of doctors at university hospitals for keeping CF research one step ahead of the progression of her disease.
Just in my lifetime, the life expectancy has doubled, and that's all because of advances in research. Without Dr. Konstan, the CF cause would not be where it is today.
20, 30 years ago, it was sort of a death sentence to have CF. Our patients weren't living, very few were living into young adulthood. Now the outlook for a child born today, the expected survival is well into the 30s, and even now we have patients living into the 50s, 60s, even 70s. Again, we'll only work.
The outlook for those born with cystic fibrosis today has never been brighter, due in large part to Dr. Konstan's tireless efforts. And although Robbie DiMarino didn't live to see the journey, he was the one who led Dr. Konstan to where he is today, as a chief researcher advancing the cause for cystic fibrosis.
There's several drug trials now that are in progress that we're conducting at our center as part of a national network. So it's quite exciting to think about how that, down the road will actually translate into a therapy where the patients no longer have to worry about dying at a younger age.